Ram Hari Madhusudan Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Oh Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare The Krishna Srila Rupa Swami, the Gaudiya Vaishnavas or Bengali Vaishnavas are mostly followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of whom the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan are direct disciples. Therefore, Srila Narottam Das Thakur has sung Rupa Raghu Nata Pade Hoibe Akuti Kabe Hama Bujabo Seyugala Piriti. So again, we were talking about this for several days. No, it's a nice song. It's the introduction to Prarthana. It includes all of our philosophy, nice sequences. And the Bengali, Hoibe, right? Yeah. What is the verb estar in Hindi? In Espanol, you say estar or ser. You don't know? Huh? Hona. Hona?
Will happen.
Yeah, the infinitive, to be.
Yes.
In Spanish it's estar. Okay. In Hindi, all the infinitives end in na. Hona, to be. Marna,
To die.
to beat.
Marna.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
To beat.
Yes.
Kana,
To eat.
okay. Jhana.
To go.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So they all na. Baitna,
To sell.
yeah?
To sell.
To sit.
Sell.
Well, how you say is
Betna.
betna.
Yes.
Betna,
Yes.
to sit. Okay. And then the imperatives, you sit, you eat, yeah.
O.
Yeah.
O with an O.
Yeah. So it could be BTA.
Bettier.
Yeah.
More respectful.
Oh no, or bolna, okay, better. Bolna means to say. We should sell these. We can sell these at the beginning of each conference. Bolna means to say. Okay, yeah. Now if you say, we say bolo. Tu bolo. Okay? Means it's imperative. But instead, bolie.
Respectful.
Yeah. Now in Spanish you also have the third sense. Yeah. If you say, what is it? There's, you don't use it. It's obsolete. Yeah. You say.
It's no longer used. Obsolete.
Tu siéntate, siéntese, and then vuestra merced. Vuestra merced. Huh? Centao. Yeah. But it's almost obsolete. It's the same in English also. You, thee, and thou. Yeah, thee and thou are obsolete. So it's bolo, bolie, and boliega. Right? Boliega is.
Boliega.
You would tell the president of India. You wouldn't say bolo. Boliega. Yeah. Okay. So here we have Bengali. So again and again and again and again in this song, it's nice to know, to start to learn the word by word meaning, because you can sing with, with feeling. It's very, very incredible. We go to, how many years have you been a devotee?
Almost 20.
Okay, that means you've come to Mangalartik 7,000 times. Do you know the word by word meaning of the Gurvastaka?
Not all.
Huh?
Not everything.
My gosh, you are a very slow learner. But this is what happens. This is, Rupa Goswami says, there are 6 impediments, right? Yeah. First off, there's 6 pushes. Vacho Vegam, Manasa, Krodha Vegam, Jiva Vegam, Udaro Upasta Vegam. Damodar, right? Controlling his udar, udaro pasta. Okay, and if you control these, you become Goswami. You become guru for your village. No, for the whole world. Anybody who's controlled these things. The Bible says, if you meet a person who has controlled his tongue, you have met a perfected man. Yes, okay, yeah. So he says that. It starts with the tongue. Tongue wants to talk. Then you start thinking about things, and then you start becoming angry about things, mental problems. Okay, tongue wants to taste. Then you want to satisfy your belly, and then your romantic desire. It's like that. Starts with the tongue. Yeah. So it's very universal. Okay. Yeah. So, Goswami talking about these 6 pushes. Okay. Yeah. Kabihama. Yeah. So, Hoibe means when will it be? And if we learn the word by word meanings, then we can sing it. So when I learned the word by word meaning for the Gurvastaka, it's so different, because you can actually every word you're saying something, not just a general idea about something. Actually, each word means something, and so on. We have to become Krishna conscious at every moment. How long is a moment? She's a sociologist. She must know. Anthropologist. How long is a moment?
1 second.
She's guessing. Yeah. Yeah. There's a book by what's his name? Something. Ernst Poppel. Poppel. A German guy. Ernst Poppel. It's called Mindworks. If you look it up, you've got to put the words together as if you were German. Mindworks. Okay. And he says that his scientific investigation, which was probably for Western people, European people, if an event takes place within 3 seconds maximum, his people, they classified it as one event. One event. When it got longer than 3 seconds, you had to connect it up as 2 events. Then you start using grammar, I saw Bob. Okay, I saw Bob. Yeah, but then you develop these techniques of Smaranam. The first level of Smaranam is intellectual understanding. Because then you can put it places, right? Oh, now I understand. Oh, I understand. Oh, these are the same. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So beginning. Yeah. So for his audiences, which is Western people, for Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, it was probably much bigger. Bhaktisiddhanta could probably handle something like 1 minute or something like that, just contemplation. But the attention span of their subject was maximum 3 seconds. I tried after that chanting the whole Maha Mantra in 3 seconds. You really got to move it. You got to get your ear going and stuff. But it becomes, the whole thing is there one time. Then I noticed that for 20 years I've been emphasizing Hari Rama more than Hari Krishna. Wow. So I changed to Hari Krishna, and it was a whole different experience. Yeah. So this is Smaranam. Prabhupada says when you become expert at Shravanam, then you can engage in Kirtanam. You hear properly, then you can explain things, talk about them. Shravanam, Kirtanam. Yeah, he said when you start to explain properly, Smaranam, then you can start to contemplate these things. Why do universities exist? Many times we made this point. Why do universities exist? You don't know? So teachers can learn. Yeah, right? Yeah, because as soon as you start Teaching the subject, it's a whole different thing. You know, oh, I didn't catch that. Let me go back. I have to look back at that. Yeah, yeah. So Shravanam, Kirtanam, yeah. And then Shmaranam. Then Prabhupada says that when you perfect Shmaranam, no more Punar Janma, no more repeated birth and death. So the first 3 of the 9 processes are open for everybody. Everybody can engage in those 3. The last 3, Dashyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. Dasyam, Satma, Atmanivedanam. Dasyam, Sakyam. And I think that's Mother Yashoda and the gopis. You know, they give themselves completely to Krishna. You know, motherly affection for the child. You know, yeah. Sakyam, Atma. Prabhupada says these 3 are only for the acharyas. Acharyas. Padasevanam means doing some service. Go to the temple, clean the temple, do some things, right? Padasevanam. But that's different than dasyam. Dasyam means that you are a servant of Krishna. It's like, again, when Nitai Gaur Sundar came here, Dr. Ravi Prakash Singh, our longtime friend, our closest associate in ISKCON. He's from Lucknow, yeah, his family. And he went into the medical line. He's retiring now, but he was head of geriatric psychiatry at the biggest mental hospital south of Nashville, and you know, so very strict there. And his brother Sashi, he went into the political line, and he's a judge. He's not a judge. He's an advocate for the Supreme Court of India, and stuff. You know. So Nitai Gaur Sundar was visiting here. They went to the Govardhan retreat, different things. And Sashi came. You know, I know him for a long time. We spent years together. Oh, Sashi's coming. We want to go see your house and go visit, go in the parikrama. So we'll meet you at the rickshaw stand, the police joke. So we got there, and it was the driver, their taxi, Nitai Gaur Sundar and Sashi, and also a jeep with 3 police guys with machine guns, because he's an advocate for the High Court. You know, so every place we go, we walk over to the ashram. They stay there. And we went on the parikrama, right? And you know, in the parikrama, the motorcycle guys, their philosophy is, scare everybody off the path. And if you hit somebody, well, it's their fault. You know, people get hit. You know. So anyway, I was wondering what was happening, and sure enough, when we were walking there with both people were very well dressed and 3 guys with machine guns, all the motorcycle guys just slowed down, didn't honk their horns, went by very peacefully like that, you know, like that. So Shmaranam. We were talking about here, yeah. So we different audiences, different memory spans, yeah. Okay, so we have to become constant, you know. That's later on, section number 8. Tanama rupa chari tadi sukirtananu smrityo kramena rasana manasin yoja tishtan vraje Tadanugami, Jan Anugami, Kalam Nayad Akalim Iti Upadesha Sharam. I don't, you notice these things, you don't remember them, they come, right? Yeah. One purport about the different levels of yoga, it's very famous, but I can't find it. It's in the first 2 cantos or something. And it's talking about how the yogi does this, he does this, he does this, you know. And the purport probably gives this fantastic purport. It's like a Descartes, cogito ergo sum. I'm obviously not the sense objects, right? I'm not the sense objects. René Descartes, you know him? Right. How you pronounce his name in Spanish? Descartes. René Descartes. René Descartes. You cannot speak French. Only French people can speak French. You get an arrogant Arab and an arrogant Frenchman together, boy, you got it. You know, only not the Quran unless it's in Arabic. You look Arabic. Yeah. So anyway, he was very, very famous. He was sitting in front of his fire one day, somewhere in France. And who am I? Okay. He said, well, I'm not the fire. I'm not the flames. I can say, oh yeah, we say, okay, I'm not the sense objects, and I'm not the eyes which experience this. That's not me. That's my possession. So this is Sankhya, all over the place. Everybody does this. Then next he came to the point, well, Gortai ki jai. Yeah, that the mind is aware of these things. The mind is experiencing the senses and experiencing the sense objects. The Buddha, he said, look at everything from 2 centimeters behind your eyeballs. Try that. Examine everything from 2 centimeters behind your eyeballs. Yeah. You become detached, you start watching, you're watching. Okay, I'm not. You don't become absorbed like a dog or something, Okay. So then he came with this very, very famous Latin phrase. What did René Descartes say? Cogito? You don't know? Huh? Cogito ergo sum. Very famous phrase. Cognition, ergo, sum. I think, therefore I am. Yeah. So he was on a little bit of the platform of buddhi, because you can't be aware of your mind if you're absorbed in it. How's it go? Anamaya, pranamaya, manomaya. Yeah, manomaya, you're absorbed in your mind, whatever your mind says, this and that, or, okay, well, a little boy can do that, but not a little girl. Or a Punjabi girl can do that, but not a Hindi girl. It's like everybody. It's just manomaya, mental dharma. Anamaya, absorbed in food. Pranamaya, absorbed in the body. Manomaya, absorbed in the mind, and all of its thoughts and fears and anxieties. Next. Jnanamaya. This is Buddha, Socrates, Confucius, some people. And then Anandamaya, where you actually come to the soul. So you see that this fellow, what's his name, René Descartes, and that he's considered one of the greatest, pivotal philosophers in all the whole culture here. So, but we have to come to Shmarnam, Ta nama rupa charitade sukirtanas nu shmityo. Shmityo? Shmarnam. Yeah. Ta nama rupa charitade sukirtan. Very good kirtan. Yeah. If you every day very good kirtan, the nama, rupa, What else we got? Nama, rupa, sangha? No, nama, rupa, lila. Yeah. Nama, rupa, lila, sangha. Okay. Jai. Yeah. Sukirtan anu shmito. Okay, thank you. Get back to you. No fragrance. Look nice, but yeah. Kramena, like karma, kramena. You should do this. Kramena, rasana manasi nyojan. You should engage your rasa. What is the tongue? How do you say tongue in Sanskrit? Or rasana. Yeah. I think it's also rasana. Yeah. It means that which is experiencing rasa. Rasana manasi. Yeah. Rasoigar. Rasoigar? Kitchen. The place of rasa. Yeah. So rasana manasi. He said you have to engage your tongue, like we're doing now. Okay. And then manasa, the mind. Yeah. It's in the smriti. Yeah. And he's recommending it. If you do this, and you'll be free from all the distresses of this world, everything else. Something happens to you, and you get hit by a motorcycle or some bull. If you say, "Oh my God, what is it?" People say different things. In English, they usually two preferred words that people say in the great distress refer to the Muladhara chakra and the activities of the Muladhara. Defecation, fornication. They use different words. And this is it, because it drags them. It drags the mind into some, hopefully, out of their experience on this level. The other thing is they say, oh God damn it, or something, or Are Bhagavan, Yeah, but this is their smarnam to control the mind. So if we're conditioned ourselves, then the smarnam, our smarnam then is Krishna. Smarnam is consciousness, Krishna consciousness. How do you say ISKCON in Hindi? Antarashtrika?
Krishna Bhavanam.
Antarashtrika?
Antarashtriya Krishna Bhavanam.
Shri Antarashtrika Shri Krishna Bhavan Amrita Sangha. Yeah. Rashtrika means?
International.
Rashtrika. No, Rashtrika means national.
National.
I'll teach you Hindi though. Yeah. Antarashtrika,
Is
international. Yeah, Antarashtrika, international. So it's, but this Antarashtrika Shri Krishna Bhavanamrita, and that's the word that Prabhupada's using for consciousness. Consciousness. Yeah, yeah. And so the Baba, we know it's a scientific word for us. You have to come to Shmarnam, Baba, the absorption like that, yeah. And so, coming back now, looping back to my original point here, that when we're singing these songs, right? Okay, yeah. If you're singing in the morning, you're serving this. You get something very valuable out of this class. Learn the word by word meanings of the Garbhastaka. Learn the word by word meanings. Yeah. Okay. Because you're standing in front of the deities every morning and you're chanting, Sangsara Dava La La Loda Lida. Yeah. We're hearing a whole thing. He sent me this whole thing where Prabhupada said, you're singing Sri Guru Charana Padma. It's Sri Guru, not Sri Guru. Guru means cow. And Prabhupada was saying, I am not a cow. And he said, not even a bull. Not even a bull, He said, but Krishna knows the meaning. Yeah. But he's encouraging, because if you do it properly, it's, yeah. So, because then the mind is of every word, and the mind, basically, for 3 seconds is human consciousness. Like all these topics. Because our whole study was, so much of our work had been in science in the Vedas, Bhakti Srup Damodar Maharaj, what Prabhupada wanted, this modern world. Yeah. So, Sri Guru Karana Padma. Yeah. So, looking at the history of Western science, how it developed, how we got where we are. There was a nice presentation at the first World Congress for a synthesis of science and religion. It was in 1984. It was in Bombay. Nobel laureates were there, everything else. The biggest programs we did with the BI, one of the biggest, like that. Yeah. And so for the key, and it was the 500th anniversary of Lord Chaitanya's advent. So they had Harvey Cox. Have you heard of him at all? He's a very prominent theologian from Harvard University. Anyway, he worked with the devotees and stuff like that. So they had him come. Many big people there, very big people. So they asked him to give a little presentation at the very beginning of the thing on the history of science and this whole thing of, science and synthesis of science and religion, And it's very, very nice. It's very beautiful. It's in the book they published after that, the book on that. It's very nice. It's maybe about like 5 pages, but it's an incredible, nice summary of the history of science and stuff, And because it developed a certain way, there have been certain choices they've taken intellectually, which there's no real reason they had to take them. In some way they took them because the Catholic Church decided they were going to do it. And so science is very, very much still a product, of Catholic thinking and these kind of things like that, religious thinking. So he said it's a very, very complicated subject, and nobody can really criticize me for not like dealing with everything and these kind of things. But I'll try and do something, and I'll try and do today as a little offering of a flower garland at the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya on the anniversary of his 500th anniversary to Radha and Krishna. So he pointed out at the time of Newton, before them, there were basically 2 groups of philosophers. The iatrochemists, who later on became the alchemists, and the mechanical philosophers. Okay, And they were both competing that their philosophy was the best. We should get more government funding. We should get better houses, like that. We should have more pretty secretaries, this kind of stuff. Younger secretaries. You know, all these things that you do science for. Okay, there it is. Okay, yeah, yeah. And so the alchemists were competing, and then the mechanical philosophers. But guess who won? Guess who established themselves as the most powerful knowers of the truth? Not the alchemists. The alchemists lost. Yep. Physicists, right? What is the most scientific definition of water? Huh? Water. H2O. Please hand me a glass of dihydrous oxide. Yeah. If I have some some medicine which will cure AIDS or something like that. Oh, before the American, what's it called? American Medical Association, not them. American Food and Drug Organization. Yeah, FDA. Before they'll let you release it, you have to know the chemical formula, right? They won't let you distribute it massively. The chemical formula is physics. You have to know the carbon atoms, the hydrogen atoms, the different things like that. So science is physics is the normative science, and then chemistry has to adjudicate itself in terms of that. And then of course, if you go to biology, then you have to go back to the chemistry, all this stuff, And then for biology, then we can get, neurophysiology in the brain. And from the brain, we can get psychology, because we all know that the mind is a product of the brain, right? Yeah, it develops to a certain point. Then the brain develops and we get social relationships and culture. And then finally, we get theology. And theology is a product of evolution when people decide this. And finally, the highest development of theology. We mentioned this before. One atheist in India, nice person, atheist, he said the highest product of theology was the Sripad Bhagavatam. I mean, this is how great it is. Even an atheist, people say that, the final conclusion of everything of evolution is Sripad Bhagavatam. Of course, it's all being produced from atoms and molecules and chance and what's it called? Chance mutations and natural selection. Yeah, so Sripad Bhagavatam was naturally selected by nature as yeah. So anyway, this was the condition, and it was the battle was going on. What's the guy's name? You don't know him. No. The iatrochemists, Paracelsus and Magnus. You'll see them, Paracelsus and Magnus. You look in the Wikipedia, you'll find them. They were like, a really long time ago trying to figure out what is reality, these things. Sir Isaac Newton, of course, was one guy who really did, but he was very theological, right? Yeah. How many words of theology did Sir Isaac Newton write? Anybody know? For 20,000 points. I have prasadam here. All the good boys and girls get prasadam. Over 100,000 words he wrote on theology. Yeah. He was writing on theology until about 18 years old. Then he went into studying, he developed the laws of gravity, the laws of mechanics, the laws of optics, calculus, from 18 years old until 21 years old. Within 3 years, he did all of his scientific work. Any one of those will get you a Nobel Prize. So the greatest scientist who ever lived. Then after that, he went back to theology, and people said, well, why did you deviate from theology? And he said, I never left theology. I was just, he said, there are two ways to understand God. Two books, the Bible and nature, where God is writing with his own hand. So many people had.
This is about Sir Isaac Newton.
Yeah. But they were doing weird stuff. I mean, it's actually very interesting, because you can relate it to Krishna consciousness, and you can start talking to people. And innocent scientists, but we Nobel laureates, Charles Towns, Eugene Wigner, they're interested in these things. They're very intelligent, and they like history, they like culture and stuff. You put it in their language, and they start to talk about things. They'll add things too. They'll add stuff. So this is what was going on. But at some point, then physics and Sir Isaac Newton, which was kind of strange, they all became the the leaders. And and psychology and different things kind of fell apart with the chemists and so on. But, trying to understand how. Oh yeah, okay, yes, I got point out here. So one of the differences between the alchemists and the mechanical philosophers was that the mechanical philosophers were dedicated to reductionism. You had to become smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and break things down smaller and smaller and smaller. Or on the other hand, you had to get bigger and bigger and bigger and farther away. Prabhupada said because they're impersonalists, they can't understand the absolute truth is understandable right here with your current senses. By kirtan, these things, you can find the absolute truth like that. They say, no, you have to become more accurate. You have to go to what? To milliseconds. Okay? And what's finer than a millisecond? A microsecond. And what's finer than a microsecond?
Nanosecond.
Okay, what's finer than a nanosecond? Oh, you don't know.
Femto.
Huh?
Femto, pico.
Pico. Picoseconds. and they try and manipulate matter at this stuff, And they get some results. Yeah, you're going to get some result. Material nature is unlimited, and you can make different toys and this kind of stuff. You can make birth control pills and atomic bombs. Okay, and everybody salutes you. You made birth control pills and atomic bombs. Okay, that's the same two things you've always been fornicating and fighting. Okay, you've improved our ability to. We're better than the bears now. Okay, the bears also fornicate and fight. Now we can do it with atomic bombs and chemistry, like that. It's a whole interest. All these areas go off into different interesting areas there. So that was their desire was to analyze things, break it down to the smallest, or the absolute truth will be understood through astrophysics or through subatomic nuclear physics. But the alchemists said no. Again, you can understand it right here. They were on the right track. We agree with anything. Another thing the alchemists said is that there are macrocosmic and microcosmic resonances, right? That everything in the universe is like an echo coming from God. And God created man in his own image. This idea that there are resonances. It says when the brahmanas start to chant the mantras properly, it starts to resonate, and Indra's throne starts to heat up. Hey, what do you want? So they said, okay, if you're doing something here, this body, for example, right? You can see that it's an echo. The different chakras are related to the different parts of the universe with Brahma Loka, Mahar Loka, like that, and so on. So they believed in a limit to reductionism. They believed in. They believed in macrocosmic and microcosmic resonances. So when you're chanting the mantras properly, Golokera Premadana. This mantra, it goes, not to speak of Indraloka or someplace else, it goes all the way to Goloka, chanting. And what else we got? Okay. The third thing was, they believed that things had a meaning. Events. This is kind of like macrocosm, microcosm, a little bit different. That things had a meaning. There was a meaning for things and so on. But the mechanical philosophers said, no, things just happen without meaning. And you can see that. It was Carl Sagan, right? A very famous guy. This is Gopal Hari did a whole thing on this, Radhika's brother. In these quotations, and Carl Sagan said, the more we understand the universe, we understand that it is completely uncaring, uncaring, unsympathetic, and meaningless. It's obvious if you have this kind of philosophy, you're going to start smoking and drinking coffee and other things. This is horrible. But no, the alchemist said things have meaning. If you go out in the morning and you see a black cat crossing from the left to the right or in front of you, you should go back in the house. Like that. Thursday is a bad day for travel. Right? Yep. I noticed that when I'm coming here, there's all these motorcycles roaring. It's Thursday. And Thursday afternoon is the worst. And Thursday afternoon on Ekadasi, I can give you had some experiences? I had some experiences, man. It was I mean, almost died in an airplane accident. It's 12 hours to take a 2-hour trip. Yeah. So I mean, yeah. So we, the alchemists, and Carl Jung, of course, was investigating all the alchemists and their philosophy. He really went into it in great depth and stuff and showed it. So anyway, this is Smarnam. At the mechanical philosophers, they said no. It's all break it down into nanoseconds, and we're saying no. Everything basically 3 seconds. That's the maximum we're going to get for our Smarnam. So if every 3 seconds you've got some Krishna consciousness there, you are constantly Krishna conscious. Shatnama tanama rupa charitade sukirtana anushmitya. Yeah, you have to get this anushmitya. That's what he's saying, anushmitya. But then after that, in the purport he says, okay, constant remembrance. Okay, I'm going to do the deity worship. I got to do the artik. I got to focus on that. I got to clean the plates. After that, I got to go take Hanumatpresaka. I got to take a nap for Krishna. Then I get up, and then I have to do this. Yeah, you develop a whole Vaidhi Bhakti, where you're always remembering Krishna. Always remembering Krishna. Big management guy. He was hired by a company to train their executives in time management. So what did he do? Do you know?
Got a watch.
Huh? No.
Get a watch.
He went in front of a seminar with a big glass jar. And what did he do?
Hourglass.
Huh?
Choose.
Big glass jar, yeah. He put rocks inside of it. Big rocks, like that, okay. And he said, is the glass full? And the management people said, yes. Then he brought some sand and started to pour it in, like that. Came up to the top. And he said, is it full now? And they said, yes. And he bought a glass of water, pouring it in. And he said, is it full now? And one guy said, it seems to me you can't get anything else in there, but the way you're going, you figure out something else. So he said, this is it. This is time management. Time is the external manifestation of the Paramatma. If you have time to kill, that's your relationship with the Paramatma. When was the last time you heard any devotee ask you, hey, have you got any time to kill? You don't hear that in ISKCON. I was amazed. I noticed that after a few years, that you usually don't hear that amongst devotees. Hey, time to kill? No, devotees are, every moment is precious. So anyway, this guy, time is the external manifestation of Paramatma. So time management, first off, you get your big blocks set up. Okay, full morning program. What else? Including breakfast. And after that, you should check in with everybody, right? See what's happening, what have we been doing. Then you can set your calendar. Okay. Then after that, you get your noon program, evening program. Probably said full morning program, full evening program, Sankirtan. Yeah. And once you got it blocked out like that, then you've got to start making it not only constant, but intense. Right? That you not only, it goes that way, but constant, broad, and intense. These are 3 levels of Smarnam. Anusmriti, he gives the different levels like that. Bhava, Prema, So you're conscious of Krishna all the time. Maybe you're a Brahmana, okay? Then you start to become intensely Krishna conscious. Now you're a Goswami, right? Ladies also become Goswamis. Now you begin to see the personal features. So the deities are spiritual. Radha Govinda are spiritual. You know that. They're not ordinary people. But then you start becoming to realize their features and what are they looking at and what are they thinking about and why are they dressed in that way today? And so you become Goswami, right? Yeah. And then after that, then you can become a pure devotee. Okay. So uninterrupted, intense, and broad. He says broad. And at that point, I remember one time I was in the temple in San Francisco, 455 Valencia Streets. And just before the Shringa Artik, nobody was there but myself. I wasn't even initiated at that point. But I was trying to chant my rounds and stuff, And so then suddenly my mind was focusing on something that was funny. So I started to kind of like laugh uncontrollably. Tried to pull my mind away. And that was also funny. Then everything I would focus on was... So this is what happened when you become Sri Krishna Bhavanamrita, Krishna conscious intensely and broadly, then everything is connected to Krishna. One man said, to Prabhupada, "Show me God." And Prabhupada said, "Show me something that is not God." Krishna's energy, Krishna's 5 external energies, Krishna's mental energies, all these things. But it's a matter of just, waking up. Waking up. So, that's the guy who Upadeshamrita. We never get beyond the first part of the book there. Yeah. Upadeshamrita. So, Shmarnam, learn the word by word meanings. See, it's all connected here. Goranga, Rupa Raghunatha Pade, Hoibe. Hoibe. This is when will it become? Verb is hona, no? Hona, and hoibe means when it will become. When it will become. So you see that word again and again and again in the song. When will our Nityananda be merciful to me? When will I see Vrindavana? When will all the vasanas and all the different experiences I have from previous lifetimes go away? When, okay. Rupa Raghunatha Pade Hoibe. Yeah. Akuti. Akuti. Anxious. Anxious. When will I become anxious for the lotus feet of Rupa and Raghunath? Yes. Maybe you'll see them at Radhakund here sitting. Yeah. Kabe. It's another word. Again, you should know this word. Kabe means? When. Kabe habe bolo, kabe habe bolo se dinamar. Harinamaruchi. Bhaktivinoda Thakur's song. Yeah. Okay. Kabe hama bhujabo se yugala piriti. Then I will be able to understand, You get the mercy of Nityananda, and all of your material desires go away, the vasanas, even the mental things go away. Then you can see Vrindavan. How many people can see the spiritual Radhakund? How many people are experiencing it with your intelligence? How many people are becoming addicted to Radhakund? Yeah? When you leave, you think, oh God, I can leave. I don't have to stay anymore. Now I can go back to the West, and I can buy fruities, so I can, whatever. Yeah. No, every time, punya kriti. That verse, what is it from? Yeah. The cowherd boys, who Sukadeva Goswami says to Maharaj Parikshit, the cowherd boys were playing with Krishna with intense motivation. When boys play, girls too, I guess. Guys are playing, they just become so intense. With your toy soldiers or so many things, right? So this is Bhavanamrita, but the Bhava is playing with your friends. But they were playing with Krishna, killing demons and playing games and all these things. And he says that the cowherd boys were promoted to this platform only after punya. Punya means? Punya. Huh? Pious activities. Punja means hills, heaps. Yeah. So Prabhupada says this, punya kriti. They only, after collecting heaps of pious activities. There are pious activities for sense gratification in this life or the next. There are pious activities for liberation. And there are pious activities to advance in devotional service. Yani kani cha pa pa ni rama. Yeah. Every step. Prabhupada said it's accumulating. I've engaged you in so many pious activities. You bow down to the deities. He said little pious activity. It's accumulating. This lifetime, next lifetime. And then Prabhupada says, and one day you will play with Krishna. It's guaranteed. One day you will play with Krishna. Don't worry. Yeah. So acquiring these credits, one thing after another. And so this is what he's saying in verse number 8. Number 7, by hearing the names, worshiping the deity, hearing the Krishna book, you become free from your material attachments, you become free from material distress, and you start to begin to get an attachment for Krishna consciousness. Radhakund, even though it's dirty and flocky, and you become addicted to it. And you start to see, why am I? Yeah, but there's something transcendental about it. There's something And every time you go around, you're making advancement just by walking around Radhakund. Of course, if you're chanting while you're walking and other things, his progress is faster. Prabhupada, if the holy names are always effective, why do we have to do all the other things? Get up, chant on beads. And Prabhupada said, it is like eating food. If you eat, there will always be a reaction. He said, but if you eat properly, a different reaction. So if you chant as prescribed by the Acharya, so many rounds, so much kirtan, he said, then you wake up faster. Yeah. So it's a very nice book, nice song. We haven't got beyond the preface in 3 weeks, but we're going ahead. Yeah. He takes it like that, all the way up to meditation, smarnam, and understanding the process like that. And it has to come to that. We have to come to smarnam. So, koi, in Espanol, koi, qual, koi, qual, prashna, koi, qual pregunta hai, koi prashna hai. If you speak Hindi, you speak Spanish. Koi prashna hai? Hanji.
Is there any mention about chakras in the scriptures?
About what?
About the 7 chakras in the scriptures?
Yeah.
Is there any mention in any scriptures?
No, Patanjali. In Patanjali's tradition, there's, Sakriya, I don't, in many places in the Bhagavatam it talks about people who are leaving their bodies and dying. Many places in the Bhagavatam, somebody is leaving his body and he's, raising the life airs and, like that, and going out, So it's described, it may not exactly describe the name of each one, but definitely it's describing raising it from the Muladhara chakra to this chakra to the Manjushri, like that, going up,
This is also mentioned in the Vistarashtra's after vanishing from the palace.
Huh?
Vistarashtra.
It's there.
It was also there, raising from Muladhara.
And when Yudhishthira renounces, so it's there. And then I had to give a lecture at University of it was the National Library in Peru. National Library, whole program on Carl Jung and everything else. Some big people there. It was incredible. So I was going to talk. Carl Jung did a whole nice presentation on Kundalini Yoga. They read books, very, very serious study. And I didn't know exactly what to say, but of course, that morning the Bhagavatam class when I gave it Prabhupada was talking about chakra yoga, Kundalini yoga. He was just in the purport. He just okay. So I went in and just made the same presentation with the same ideas, and everybody was very nice. So Prabhupada was talking about what happens and so on. For every process in the Ashtanga yoga system, yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, there's a corresponding process in the Bhakti yoga system. Okay, we engage in singing and dancing to rhythmical processes, right? This is the same as asana. You're singing and dancing, you have to, move your body and get it properly arranged. If you want to express yourself, and so you just, you start singing with an open throat, right? Singing and dancing, and then pratyahara. In the beginning, you're so much addicted to playing the drum, you can't stop. And everybody's going crazy. Stop practicing the drum. Stop practicing it. So you're not playing the drum is playing you. You're not eating the food is eating you. So pratyahara means no, now you can withdraw if you want to. Now you control your voice, you control the dancing, you control the, So everything's there. We do everything that they do in the Ashtanga yoga system and acquire the same results. Okay. But the names, the chakras. Yes.
Guru Maharaj, I was just wondering if this Smaranam is something like the Krishna subconscious or something like that.
Yeah.
Because we always talk about Krishna conscious, but you also spoke about alchemy and it's basically like transformation of substances to higher natures.
Yeah.
So are we transforming ourselves in a subconscious level, or is something conscious? Because sometimes I see like devotees, they can chant rounds in their sleep, or they can do something that they are not really conscious.
Yeah.
So it's like a subconscious?
Maharaj Pariksit asked, what is the duty of a man during his life, and especially at the time of death? And 7 days later, so what kind of answer do you want? This is why Carl Jung, Prabhupada said of all the Western philosophers, Carl Jung had the most sense. And it's a very active community with people, but it's rare because they're very elevated people if you get into it. But it's a very, very nice area for preaching, and we're developing that, working with them. So as far as I can tell, Carl Jung, from his childhood, was experiencing Hiranyagarbha. You've got Virat Rup. Okay, I'm the taste in water. I'm the fragrance of the earth. Among animals, beasts, I am the lion. Okay, yeah. And above Virat Rup, I think it's Hiranyagarbha, and then Paramatma. Now Paramatma, you start to see, there's somebody behind this. There's a hand of God and things. We can never catch up with him, but we can see his footprints, and that's that feeling that there is a God, but he's so great. But one big Jewish guy, professor, told me that most Jewish people, that's their idea. Yeah, God's a person, but he's so great you're never going to be able to catch up with him or see him. So it's like what do you call it? Paramatma or Paramatma. But below that, Hiranyagarbha is like where there starts to be, this golden spermatozoa, all these things they're describing. It's very, personal, but it's still not the same as the Paramatma. So from his childhood, he was having these kind of experiences and stuff, and he didn't know what to do. He didn't know what to do with them. The people at that time in psychology, they just lock people up or beat them to death or something. They didn't know what to do with people who were crazy. The devil has them maybe or something. But they were just Buhler was his teacher, and they were just starting to deal with subconscious mind and complexes and these mental things like that. They would use free association tests. Okay. I'm going to say a word, and you say the first word that comes into your mind. Hot.
Tea.
Big.
Elephant.
Wife. It gets real kinky right away. Because we're all keeping. You may not even believe it or something, but the things come out or you try, husband. Yeah.
So, in the scientific community, among the scientists, like one of the founding father of modern quantum mechanics, Schrödinger, he was a Vedantist, and Einstein, he believed in God, of this Spinoza's kind of God, and all Sir Isaac Newton. They derived some hypothetical understanding of the material nature from the scriptures theologically. Yeah. And they converted it into mathematical formulas and all. But while in the scientific community, objective science, they never mention about where they got those excerpts. Yeah. And they try to either why it is that in their personal life, in autobiography, personal life, they had mentioned something about their relation with the nature and on this. But in the scientific community, they keep hiding what they got all this inspiration and ideas. So what is the psychological things behind this?
So her question, we're dealing with that same thing. Boy. Say, back here. She's there. Because they're related. So, there's the Sankhya, everything else. So Carl Jung was accepting that there is a subtle world which is real, substantial, and causes the gross world to develop. how far he was able to go was basically like Hiranyagarbha and stuff. Again, when they asked him, do you believe in God? You know, and he said, you know, I'll be honest, I don't know if there's a God or not. He said, you know, he said, but anybody who's a psychologist, and this is where he was honest and he was brave. Many scientists are not honest and brave. The ones who are not honest want to take the credit. They even want to convince themselves that they're the doers, right? And they want to lie to themselves even, you know, or else they're confused. Okay, that's for some reason they just, I thought about it, you know, okay. Another one is not brave, because when you start talking about these things, you will be, you know, in the scientific community, you'll be pushed off to the side like that if you become too theological, right? You know, working with Charles Towns and people like that.
Yeah, very bold.
He was a Christian guy. He belonged to the American something or other church, Congregationalist church. But he, you know, he kept it. You know, I go to church on Sunday, this and that. But when I'm a scientist, you know, yeah, because you do more than that. And the general atmosphere is that because it's atheistic, right? The atheists are in control. You know, that's why they're doing it. But Carl Jung was, you know, more brave and more honest to a certain degree. But he also himself would not talk about. Because he said, they'll just tear me apart, emotionally, psychologically. He wanted his biography. Tell us all the things you've experienced in your life, all this kind of stuff, before you leave. And he said, if I told you all the stuff I'd gone through, first off, they classify me as a schizophrenic. The theologians, everybody would attack me. And I've experienced this. I'm not going to do this. I'm a human being. You got to do it. Okay. With Anna Joffre, one of his female senior disciples, we'll work on a biography. But you can't publish it until after I'm dead. Yeah, and it's called Memories, Dreams, and Reflections. And all the devotees I know who read it, it's very nice. It helps you with your own psychological problems. But you can see he was experiencing this stuff, which is just, you know, back in the 1950s or something, when he was experiencing this, well, people had no idea whatsoever. Yeah, but now with the Vietnam War, with Asia and all these experiences and LSD and stuff, now people are accepting, yeah, these things, they're there. Yeah, yeah. So anyway, that's through, we have to go through the Sankhya, either by Bhakti Yoga or by Patanjali's Yoga, and start to analyze, I'm not the senses, I'm not the sense objects, right? And we do this and stuff. Then you come to the psychological level, and yeah, then you start to distinguish these things, you know? I mean, you can start to see that you have different complexes, right? You can see that certain things, vasanas we call them, whatever, they're there and they're pushing you like that and so on, you know? And you know, there's what do you call it? There's like astrology, you know? And certain of your vasanas are being controlled by the time factor, which is the Paramatma, and they're going to happen, you know? Patit Pavan Das, he was an astrologer. You may know him. He's pretty famous. He's still doing a lot of work. But back in like the 1978 or 79 or something like that, he was there in Berkeley with us. And he was doing astrology. He told me what he was doing for some of the brahmacharinis and stuff. He said one of them, he said her chart was that within 5 years she would have a pregnancy outside of marriage. He was looking at Venus and all this kind of stuff. And he said, if you take a vow for 1 year to never talk to a single man, it doesn't matter. It's so strong, you'll just you'll just get hit. I mean, I don't see no way on earth you're going to avoid this, you know. So, but okay, your astrology telling you. Okay, so he said it's going to happen, and it's so strong because it's something you did. And that's your vasana. That's your subconscious, you know, subconscious reality. You know, Varnashram Dharma is a part of the Virat Rup. You know, the woman, man, warrior, prince, intellectual, these are all persona that we acquire. You know, Varnashram Dharma is the highest material trap. Only you can only surpass it when you make friendship with a devotee, and you realize all these things are just, it's not me. It's a role I play, right? But it's very subtle, very subtle. You know? But that's what Jung was experiencing. That he was experiencing the Virat Rup and these things, and he was seeing these are the archetypes. You know, yeah. What's the guy? It'd be almost impossible to translate. It's William Blake, very, 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 very famous British poet, mystic. I know, 2 centuries ago or something. Very famous guy, you know. Okay, one of his poems was, okay, a poem there. I remember it now. What is it? Oh yeah. O sunflower, weariest of time, who counteth the days of the sun. The sunflower moves, right? Good of soul. Very beautiful. Yeah, I think every single American high school literature book, you have these poems in there. O sunflower, weariest of time, who counteth the days of the sun. Is it the sun? Where the traveler's day is over. No, O sunflower, weariest to count the days of the sun. Yeah. Where the traveler's day is done. This is all these archetypal images. Yeah, everybody knows about the traveler in a foreign place. I've seen Chinese poems, so beautiful, describing the traveler coming to an end and the end of the day and different things happening and so on. O sunflower, weariest of time, yeah. Who counteth the days of the sun. Yeah. When the traveler's day is done, where the youth pined away with desire and the virgin shrouded in snow arise from their graves and aspire, where my sunflower is longing to go. Yeah, this is it. The virgin shrouded in snow. Because yeah, as a young girl, your passion has become so intense. You know, it's okay, cool it. And the youth, you know, Shakespeare says the same thing. You know, the young man composing a poem to his mistress's eyebrows. Oh, Juliet, your eyebrows are two bows that have pierced my heart. Yeah, these are all, that's why they're so great, because they're archetypal. All the world's a stage, and the men and women are mere actors. And a man in his life plays 7 parts. This is Shakespeare, this is King Solomon, and this is the Bhagavad Gita. The infant, mewling and puking in his mother's arms. And then the young boy making with shining face and satchel at snail's pace to school. I remember this. My friends just dawdling on the way to school. Every single one he hits it so beautifully. You get the language and stuff. Yeah, you know. So these are all archetypes in different ways. And they will keep us entangled. So through Bhakti Yoga we begin to understand them. And Prabhupada didn't like the word unconscious, the unconscious. Carl Jung did also not like the word.
Sunflowers, this
yeah.
William Black.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
O sunflower, weary of time, who counters the staff of the sun, seeking after that sweet golden climb.
Yeah, where the traveler's day is done.
Next, where the youth pine away from desire, and the pale virgins shrouded in snow arise from their graves, aspire. Where my sunflower possessed
Yeah. It was so intense, you know, because these are, so that's what, you know, Jung, so Prabhupada did not like the word unconscious, and Carl Jung also, he said, why is it unconscious? He said, with some effort, I'm not conscious of something happening, then I'm conscious of it. Yeah, the level of what is conscious and what is subconscious is changing. Even in psychology, what are they called? They're called, there are things that you don't want to be conscious of. Whenever you come close to them, or such traumatic experiences, you just, you know, what they're called.
Like a trauma?
Huh?
Trauma?
They're usually traumatic, yes, but they can also be so nice, you just don't want to think about them because it hurts you to think about something that you lost, you know, yeah. Preconscious experiences, you know. And those are the ones psychologists accept, yeah, that you can start messing around with them, and, you know. And the subconscious, what they say, are ones that are usually not accessible, you know. But that's what Jung is saying, through the process of psychoanalysis, dreams and other things, then the subconscious states can become conscious. And the same thing too, unless you deal with those, you're not going to become fully developed. You're simply, so you self-realize, whatever that is for a Jungian.
It is smarana.
Huh?
It is smarana. This subconscious activity is the smarana.
Yeah. Now it's interesting when you say that, you're indicating your head. No, your body language when you're talking about smarana is going towards your head. Somebody else will put it in the heart. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's okay. So more answer your question. We are unconsciously adjusting those things. Yeah. Again, you don't know that you're acquiring these pious activities. You don't know that you're changing the consciousness in your heart. You may go like 15 years, I haven't made any progress. Then you see some friend you knew in college or high school or something, you see the complete difference, the two of you, at a deeper level. You know, yeah. You have deities? Who are they? Well, what would you feel about it if you lost them?
I lost them for 2 years. No, they not lost. They were in Canada for 2 years, and I felt so bad.
Yeah. So you don't realize it. But Krishna does that sometimes, pull things away, then you realize, wow, I've developed a lot of attachment for this. You know. So yeah, we're not conscious of what's happening. Yeah, because it's happening. You know, you have a tree full of cobras. Yeah, all of our desires. Yeah. But everything we're doing has an influence on the roots. Krishna forces us. You're building a Rath Yatra car, and Krishna puts problems in your path, different things like that. That's Krishna, and so yeah, it makes you put your heart into it. It pushes you on the middle level. So in Bhakti Yoga, Krishna is playing with you with these external things. You're absorbing external things, and he's playing with them. 16 rounds is not just a mechanical thing. Krishna is going to play with your mind in terms of getting your rounds done or not. You know, yeah. And so that's changing the heart. Astanga Yoga, you have to go every single step until finally you come to the heart, meet the Paramatma, and surrender. Any step along the way you mess up, you lose the whole thing. Yeah, but Bhakti Yoga, right from the very beginning, you're changing the heart. Okay? I get your question too. Yeah. Because they aren't brave. They're not brave. That's what Carl Jung. I mean, people say that Jung was brave and honest. Pretty honest. Yeah.
And the neurotransmission, as we had a little bit conversation earlier in the room.
Yeah.
The transmitters carry certain chemical amounts.
The what?
Neurotransmitters.
Oh yeah.
And when they interact with the, say, our axons and dendrites, and they carry some electrons. And then it is converted into a certain waves of nano levels, and how they interact with the terminals of the brains, and then
yes.
how they're interacting with our subtle body of say prana. And that time Maharaj was saying that I wonder the buffer state between this objective perspective and another is the non-objective perspective, the line in between, how they are interacting. This is
the sound.
What is that? Sound.
I mean, as we acquire the more and more gross bodies, the first covering is ahankara, which just makes us think I'm independent of Krishna. That's all it does. I'm independent of Krishna. I can know separately than Krishna. I can do, okay. Then that becomes agitated by the mode of goodness. It becomes buddhi, perspective, attitude, that kind of thing. It's the whole thing. What is buddhi? Buddha was concerned with that. Then when it becomes agitated by the mode of passion, then it becomes manas. Now, based on my buddhi, based on my ahankara, I'm thinking about things, planning all these kind of things, and perceiving and doing all the mental functions. Then the mode of ignorance, it successively becomes acoustical body, tactile body, fire body, and different species have different combinations. You know, cats have a lot more prana than human beings, right? If a cat is being chased, by a bunch of dogs, he probably could climb up that wall, like that. Yeah, because the prana is just, so different combinations. But the basic connection between the mind and the gross body is sound. Now, what does sound mean? Yeah,
that the disciple that we're counting the vibration of sounds in different levels is more gross, kind of like a sound vibration but you're talking is something a little bit different, higher levels of sound which we are having without being through the ear or anything. Something subtler.
If you go to university, which university are you working for now?
Universidad Nacional Autónoma de México.
Do they have a database for their electronic database for their library?
Yes.
If you go there and put in visual perception, maybe you get back 1,000 references. Put it in acoustical perception, you'll get back about 100.
Yes.
Yeah. Western science, our knowledge, is very visually biased, which is third class.
85% of our knowledge derived from the visual perception.
Yeah, but that's third class. For many reasons, tactile is more subtle, and then finally, acoustical is even more subtle. But they don't learn to perceive that way, manipulate it. This is your whole study,
There's a group of scientists from Finland.
From where? Finland. Oh yeah.
Dr. Eero Tarasti is the president of the International Semiotic Studies.
Yeah.
And their study only sound.
Yeah.
Acoustical events and sound and music.
And Finnish language is one of the most complicated and subtle and sophisticated. Yeah, the language. It is. It's just.
There are 2 words for one meaning.
Yeah. Now also Finland is a place where there's snow everywhere, and so your eyes are almost useless. Because Eskimos. Eskimos are very, very, very tactile because you can't see anything. So they feel different things and so on. So it's a whole area. It's a very, very nice area because because scientists have to accept that this is empirical. What do they want to do? They want to get the paper going with the needles moving so they can turn the audio experience into a visual experience. They want to have an oscilloscope so they can. Okay, now the data is, but just hearing it. But it's a whole entire. For example, you look up visual illusions on the internet, you find so many interesting ones. But then you look up acoustical illusions; they're also there. It's a whole area in terms of it's a nice boundary area. We use this many times where you can take people from the gross physical level to the psychological level, and that's where it happens. Sound is especially measured by meter and accent. Raga and tala. That's the essence, right? That's the essence of Vedic music, is raga and tala. So with the raga you're creating primary notes, forbidden notes, secondary notes, chords, keys, like this kind of stuff. And then, pitches, and then combining them in certain ways. So it starts to rain. Raga, and then it starts to spread, and then everybody,
The string is more based on that kind of vibration, sound vibrations of different pitch.
Yeah.
The string theories.
Yeah. Was it before they ever had? Long time ago, they had you take a very, very thin rod, nice steel, put a metal plate on top, put sand on it, smooth, and take a violin bow and pull it, right? And it will form the sand into a physical yantra.
Different patterns. With different tunes.
So there's so many. It's such a great area for the demons to develop. And the other one is tala. Tala with rhythm. Rhythm. Yeah. Tala and raga. That's the 2 things.
Raga is the tune.
Raga is this acoustical, the pitches. So you combine those in certain ways. Okay. The fundamental unit of sound, let's stop here, in Vedic, our Western culture is a second. And we say 1 nanosecond, 1 microsecond, these kind of things. In Vedic culture, we say 1 second, our basic sound is the basic unit of time in the West is a second, microsecond, nanosecond, okay. In Vedic culture, it's a truti. You look in the Bhagavatam, it starts off with 1 truti, and 5 trutis make 1 labha, and 1 kshana, like that, and so on. So you figure it out, and I think a truti is like 1/600th of a second. Okay, Now let's take brahmanas who are born into families of brahmanas for generations, right? Their mother is forming the womb, the baby in the womb with intense purity. They're raised as brahmacharis in these beautiful atmospheres of chanting mantras and everything else. They don't have the same kind of body we have. Krishna Balaram Sharma is over there, right? Krishna Balaram Das. He came to Brisbasi Brahmin. Maybe, yeah. Anyway, he came to the West with Hansa Duda. He got sick from the weather. He went to the hospital.
Right?
Huh?
Your godbrother? He was
Yeah.
underground.
Yeah, he left ISKCON because of different reasons. Anyway, then we had to go to the hospital, and all the nurses and doctors wanted to see his blood because he had a tremendous number of very fine red corpuscles. His blood corpuscles and everything was so much finer. The blood corpuscles come in, they attach to the cell, they dump the energy, they take off the trash, and they go on, right? That's how they do it, picking up trash and dumping off energy. But it's just like once a day. His, it was just tremendous number of very, very small, very intense white corpuscles. So even on a physical level, his body and his nervous system were just very different. So my hypothesis now, which would drive people crazy, is the Brahmanas could manipulate these things down to one truti, which means you can get your tala, you can bring it down to 1/600th of a second. Now if you can start manipulating sound at that level, who knows what you can do with matter. Yep. You start when an alloy is crystallizing, right? You got a metal, when you crystallize it, it cools down to room temperature, it's going to form a crystal. If you're subjecting it to a standing wave, what happens to the crystallization? God only knows. You can possibly produce all kinds of incredible crystal structures. I mentioned this to one guy who's a professor in New York, and he almost drove off the road. It was like, there's an entire new area of just experimenting with standing waves and crystallizing metals. And what do you know? Maybe you have an iron astra, an arrow, which is actually in a non-basic crystal pattern. And so you chant the mantras and you release the thing, and so now it's an astra, and now it's it's like, wow, maybe it's possible. Okay, yes. The last final comment, question.
Yeah, comment.
Then prasadam distribution.
I remember some years ago we were investigating these drugs. They were sound.
Oh my God.
They were equivalent to actual drugs, synthetic drugs.
Huh?
They were actually equivalent to synthetic drugs.
Synthetic?
Yeah,
Drugs,
like a
drugs.
molecule, drugs, like a medicine, drugs.
Oh, drugs. Oh, drugs.
So
They said drugs.
the sound was similar to the actual synthetic molecule,
Yeah.
just by stimulating where they are in contact with. So, like you're saying,
Wow.
this certain morphology, a certain frequency can,
Yeah.
modify.
And so if you get 6 brahmanas chatting this stuff.
Being simulated in modern technology and computer science, the blind cells is not the neurons that compose 85% of the brains. So with this sound vibration, we already have covidoids, opioids, everything in our brains. So
Yes.
with this vibration, it stimulates. Then you have this high, like covidoids. Already is becoming a very popular in IT. ITNs, they are developing this without any external drugs.
Yeah.
With the stimulations externally through the brain wave, and then you have high like this. But it's going to be dangerous also.
So Ravana was going to build a mechanical staircase to heaven.
Yes,
So it didn't happen. Yeah. Prabhupada said, Panchangri or Janivas told me that Prabhupada said that if you follow the principles I'm giving you strictly, and your children follow them, your grandchildren will be traveling on flying carpets. So in 3 generations. Okay, now we have prasadam. This is what we have is very interesting here.
Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. See you.
Going to Manipur.
When?
Yes.
You are?
No, you, Maharaj.
9th.
This
No,
month.
I'm 10th. January 10th.
There was people came from your disciple, Dr. Nandalal.
Okay.
Is from Thawal district.
Yeah.